The silence is getting louder. And for the millions of people asking questions from the streets of Umuahia to the diaspora community in London, the lack of news is becoming more terrifying than the news itself. If you have been refreshing your timeline, checking the blogs, and waiting for that familiar update from the legal team, you are not alone. The headline you saw is not just clickbait, it is the reality of the last 3 weeks. We are used to weekly updates. We are used to seeing Barrister Aloy Ejimakor or Ifeanyi Ejiofor come out of the DSS facility to tell us Onyendu is in high spirits. But today, Saturday, December 13th, 2025, the airwaves are silent. Nnamdi Kanu is in Sokoto, and since he entered those prison gates, it feels like he has vanished into a black hole. We need to sit down and decode exactly what is happening because the game has changed completely. This is no longer the detention saga we watched for 4 years. This is now a conviction reality, and the rules of engagement have shifted drastically. If you are just joining the conversation, you might be confused about why everyone is suddenly talking about Sokoto. For years, all eyes were on Abuja. The Department of State Services (DSS) headquarters was the epicenter. But that chapter closed on November 20th, 2025. That was the day Justice James Omotosho banged the gavel and delivered the life imprisonment sentence that shook the entire Southeast. Immediately after that ruling, less than 24 hours later, Nnamdi Kanu was moved. He wasn't taken to Kuje prison, where many high-profile politicians are kept. The court specifically ordered that Kuje was not appropriate due to security risks. Instead, he was flown to Sokoto Correctional Centre. And this is where the "no word" headline comes from. Since that transfer on November 21st, the regular flow of information has been cut off. Sokoto is not Abuja. It is hundreds of miles away from his legal team, far from his family, and deep in the northwest. The accessibility that allowed his lawyers to visit him and give us those Monday updates is gone. We have to talk about the latest legal blow that happened just a few days ago, on Monday, December 8th, 2025. Nnamdi Kanu's legal team, fighting desperately to get him out of Sokoto, filed an application. They argued that he should be moved back to a facility in Abuja, or at least somewhere closer, like Kefi in Nasarawa State. Their argument was simple. How can a man appeal a life sentence when his lawyers cannot easily reach him to review documents? How can he prepare for the Supreme Court battle when he is isolated in Sokoto? But the Federal High Court in Abuja said no. The court declined the request to move him back. Justice Omotosho ruled that the federal government must be heard before such an order can be given. He adjourned the hearing on that matter all the way to January 27, 2026. Do you understand what that date means? It means Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will effectively spend his Christmas and New Year in the isolation of the Sokoto Maximum Security Prison. It means that for the next 6 weeks, unless a miracle happens, this silence might continue. This is the no-word reality. In the DSS custody, despite the complaints of poor food or medical neglect, there was a predictable rhythm. Now he's in the hands of the Nigerian Correctional Service, in a state far removed from his base of support. The fear among his followers is not just about his location, it is about his visibility. In the world of agitation, visibility is life. When you stop hearing from the leader, panic sets in. This brings us to the Biafra angle and the mood in the Southeast right now. It is ironic, isn't it? Just this week, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, issued a statement declaring the Southeast safe for Christmas. They told Ndigbo abroad to come home, promising that the Eastern Security Network, ESN, is on the ground to protect them. They are trying to project strength and normalcy. But how normal can it be when the man who started it all is sitting in a cell in Sokoto with a life sentence hanging over his head? The disconnect is palpable. You have the movement trying to celebrate Christmas in the East while the leader is facing his darkest winter in the North. And we cannot ignore the political moves happening behind the curtains. Just yesterday, Friday, December 12, 2025, the Niger State chapter of Ohanaeze Ndigbo made a desperate public plea to President Bola Tinubu. They are no longer talking about court battles or acquittals. They are using the P word, pardon. Chief Emmanuel Ezugo, the outgoing president of the chapter, begged Tinubu to use his prerogative of mercy. This signals a shift in strategy. The Igbo leadership seems to have realized that the judicial road has hit a dead end with this life sentence. They are now banking on a political solution. But will Tinubu listen? Tinubu's administration has been tough. Remember, his government just secured the conviction of Simon Ekpa in Finland earlier this year. With Ekpa convicted abroad and Kanu sentenced to life at home, the federal government likely feels it has won the war against the agitation. They might see no reason to grant a pardon now. They might feel that keeping Kanu in Sokoto keeps the agitation quiet. But history tells us that silence is often the calm before the storm. If Kanu's health deteriorates in Sokoto, and we know he has had heart issues and potassium deficiency complaints, and there are no lawyers there to raise the alarm immediately, the situation could spiral out of control very quickly. I want you to really think about the logistics of this transfer. Aloy Ejimakor, his lead counsel, raised the alarm immediately after the move. He described Sokoto as being so far away from his lawyers, family, loved ones, and well-wishers. This wasn't just about distance, it was a complaint about oversight. In Abuja, the eyes of the international community, the media, and the lawyers were always close. In Sokoto, who is watching? That is the question keeping many people awake at night. As we head into the festive season, the contrast is sharp. Families are gathering, rice is being cooked, and travel plans are being made. But for the Kanu family and his die-hard supporters, this Christmas is overshadowed by the reality of that prison cell in Sokoto. The refusal of the court on December 8th to bring him back to Abuja was the final nail for 2025. It sealed his location for the rest of the year. The question now is what happens next? Will the Supreme Court intervene in 2026? Will the president consider the Ohanaeze plea for amnesty? Or is this the new normal? Nnamdi Kanu, the prisoner of Sokoto, fading from the daily news cycle. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think keeping him in Sokoto will kill the agitation, or will it make him a bigger matter? And what do you make of the court's decision to deny his transfer back to Abuja? Was it about security, or was it about punishment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay updated on this story, if you want to be the first to know if he is moved or if the Supreme Court speaks, you need to smash that like button right now. It helps us get this information to more people. Subscribe to the channel. Don't just watch and leave. Be part of the community. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next update. We are monitoring the situation in Sokoto and Abuja 24/7.